Hey class, and welcome to week 15, which is our last official real week of the semester. As you know, this will wrap up our work on Project 4, but it'll also kind of wrap up our work overall for English 3010 online. I do want to congratulate you all on doing such a good job. You've all made it this far, and it's really kind of hard to do, especially in an online class, to keep up with everything, to make sure you're doing everything right. And so I want to thank you guys for being so on top of everything and making my job easier by being on top of things, getting in contact with me when you need help or had questions or anything like that. Even though I didn't meet really any of you besides a couple of Skype conversations that we had, it really was a privilege to read your work and to kind of hear your thoughts and kind of experience your ideas as you're working through them. One of my favorite things about teaching this class is the fact that I get to see students working through the kind of entry level stages of what they want to do with the rest of their lives. And so thank you for that kind of privilege of allowing me to do that and to kind of hopefully help you guys kind of think through some of those questions that you might have or develop some writing skills or some strategies that will help you succeed later on. So again, thank you. This was a fantastic semester. Now, before I get too far ahead of myself, we do still have a little bit of work to do. As you see here on our weekly schedule, your research proposal is due on Sunday. That is all the work that you have for this week besides reading this assignment description, which I'll talk about in a second. And so what this means is that if you are having questions or struggling, or if you need advice, you will have everything you need from me this week to kind of use in your Project 4, whether it's extensive feedback on the literature review or whatever it is. If you want a Skype conference with me, I'm happy to do that. But just know that this week is a work week for you, and then what that means is that I'm here for you as well. So whatever you guys need, I'm here for. The other thing that I want to spend a second talking about is the student evaluation forms. Now, I know I said this last week in the video, but you should have those by now. They were emailed to you, the link for them, and I would really appreciate if you would fill those out. Those help me become a better teacher. They help me improve this class. And they allow the university to see how well this class is serving the students' needs. And so those are very important to us. They might seem like kind of throwaways to you guys at the end of the semester, but those are the things that really help me do my job better. So if you could take the time to fill that out, I would really appreciate it. All right, so the last thing that we're going to cover for today then is this, you'll see Project 5 assignment description. Now don't worry, this is not like a whole new project in finals week. What this is it's a reflective letter essentially that you're going to be writing to me about your experience or about what you worked on this semester. In the same vein as all the other reflections that you've done so far, whether it's in blog posts or whether it's in process memos, whatever it is, it's that same idea. So let's take a look. So let's go into the weekly tasks and assignments, come down here to Project 5. Now, in a face-to-face class, this essentially functions as for lack of a better term, a final exam. Usually students will just do this either in class or kind of overnight. Again, it's not a big project. There's no research involved, nothing like that. It's just kind of a nice way to cap off a semester that is so focused on your ideas and your voice and your interests. So this is a good way to kind of practice that strategy of metacognition, of thinking about and reflecting about your own work, about your ideas, and thinking about how far you've come. And really, this should allow you to kind of trace that growth throughout the semester. So let's take a look. So this is literally a letter that you'd be writing to me. Now you're not going to like mail it to me; it would be submitted on Blackboard. But you should think about it as that kind of genre, as a letter from one person to another one. In this case, from you to me. In this letter, your goal will be to reflect on the work you've completed throughout the course of the semester. In other words, you're being asked to think and write about your research and writing practices. And a good way to begin framing your reflection letter is to think through the following questions. Now, these aren't questions that you have to respond to, but these are a good way to get started or to complete the assignment if you don't really know how to go about doing this. So here's some questions that you can think about and answer. 1, prior to this class, what did I know about writing and research in my discipline, right? So what did you know already? 2, when enrolling in this course, what did I want to learn about writing and research? 3, what did I actually learn? 4, how have my own writing and research practices changed throughout the semester? So those are things that you could talk about. And remember, this is all focused on you. And so, use the first person, talk about the things that you've done. Use examples from your writing throughout the semester. And so if you're thinking about, what did I actually learn about writing and researching my discipline, you could say like, look, I didn't know a lot before I got into this class. However, in project 3, I had to learn about how people were doing these kind of studies, and this is what I found. So when we're talking about research and writing practices, what I'm thinking about is anything including brainstorming, organization, to drafting, to narrowing a topic, et cetera, et cetera. All of the things that you've done for each assignment, and all the things that you've done from project 1 to project 4, right? So how did you come up with this topic? How did you find research? These are all skills that you used this semester, that you improved upon, developed, or maybe gained because you didn't have these skills before. But they're all things that you've done this semester. And so these are things you can talk about. Like if you talk about how brainstorming helped you in a project, or how you struggled with or succeeded with narrowing down a topic and finding research, whatever it is you want to talk about. Feel free to discuss any of these practices or others in your reflection essay. That should really be reflective letter, because remember, it is that letter. In order to organize and connect the letter to our course in the most productive way possible, I want you to use the course learning objectives to guide your reflections. This doesn't mean that your letter can or even should reference the entirety of each learning objective for the course. Instead, choose 1 or 2 specific items from the objectives that align most directly with your experience and growth throughout the course. Now, if you remember from some of our discussions in previous weeks, the entire course is framed around specific learning objectives: reading, writing, researching, and reflecting. So those 4 themes essentially characterize all of the work that you've done so far. So you've improved reading skills, you've read critically, you've improved writing skills, you've improved your researching skills, and you've also done a lot of reflecting on your own work. Now, if you need a refresher, or you want the direct wording of these, which I encourage you to look at when you're doing this letter, you can go to our syllabus and you will find them right here. So these are the learning objectives that we focused on throughout the semester, and these are the things that all of your essays have been building towards, is helping you engage with these themes. And so the idea is that you can think about your own writing in terms of those themes. So for example, how did you analyze genres, or how did you think about rhetorical situation? How were you flexible in your writing? What research methods did you use or develop? And then what has reflection done for you? So again, the idea is that you have to address the entirety of all of these, but these should help guide you. And I wanted to see you try to address at least one component out of each 4. And so you can choose what components you want to address. And again, you're going to be doing this in relation to your own writing. So how did you, demonstrate flexibility in your writing, or how did you use sources, or how did you, reflect on your writing and improve your writing, whatever it is. So what we're going to be doing is, I want you to spend some time brainstorming, pre-writing, and drafting a reflective letter that describes to me in detail how the course has helped to produce changes in your knowledge, skills, and practices, as evidenced by the writing and research you've completed throughout the semester. Letters should be addressed to me, and while they're formatted as letters, they should be formal in both tone and structure. So again, think of this as, if you had to, if you're writing your instructor a letter at the end of the course, and so what kind of language you use, what kind of tone, things like that. So it is going to be first person. However, when I'm talking about that kind of formal tone and structure, I still want you to, give me a clear, like a thesis, I guess, of how you engaged with learning outcomes, and then some evidence to support it. So you could say, like, look, I developed research skills such as X, Y, and Z, and you can see I used that in project 2. Or I really developed flexibility in my writing by being able to switch from the first person to the more objective, whatever. Here's an example of that. And so that's all I'm looking for in terms of that kind of formal tone and structure, is that you're just making a clear statement of how you engage with these ideas, and then you're using evidence, references to your work to support those ideas. And so you should, use your disciplinary format, APA, MLA Chicago, et cetera, et cetera. You may choose to emphasize whatever specific skills, behaviors, or knowledge you wish, but keep in mind the objective of the letter. The following guidelines must be met. So these are the musts. Make direct reference to at least 2 of the projects you wrote this semester. And so when you're doing that, when you're saying I, developed flexibility in my writing, you need to, reference at least 2 projects at some point in the letter. One of those projects has to be your research proposal for project 4. You may also reference any informal writing or class assignments we've done, blog posts, whatever. However, any activity, essay, journal post, or reading must be correctly cited. And so I'll give you an example. If I was going to talk about like some of my own work, and I said, One of the ways that I really improved my writing this semester was I learned how to use sources better. For example, in Project 1, when I used a quote, I didn't explain it, and I didn't cite it properly. But in Project 4, I used a really good quote to make my point. Here's that quote. And so then what I would do is I would bring in that part of my essay to show it. Like, look, here's me doing this. And then to cite that, I would just put in parentheses or in a footnote, Project 4. That's all I'm looking for. And so what I want you to do is I want you to like literally use your essays that you wrote this semester as evidence for this, just like you would use articles and books as evidence for your other writing. 2, have a clear goal for the reflection. In other words, be clear about what you feel like you've achieved. So this should just be, the clear thesis statement. I feel like I've developed flexibility. I feel like I've gotten really good at using research, whatever it is. Number 3, workshop your paper with your peers. So this is going to be optional because this is an online class. In a face-to-face class, I would have you guys sit down and workshop it. But for this, we're going to treat that number 3 as optional. I will put the Dropbox up for you if you want to upload a draft of Project 5, but I'm not going to require it. And so just to be clear, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for you to talk about how you've engaged with some part of each of our learning outcomes. In order to do that, you're going to use evidence from at least 2 projects that you've written this semester, one of which has to be Project 4, as evidence of that engagement. And that's all we're looking for. Generally, these things turn out to be 2 to 3 pages. So it's not a ton of writing. It's not meant to be some overwhelming thing. It's really just an opportunity for you to kind of collect your thoughts and to think about what you've done and to show what you've done this semester. If you do have any questions, obviously email me, and I will be posting another video next week at the beginning of kind of week 16, just kind of reviewing this stuff. But this is just kind of a heads up. So with all that, though, let me return to week 15, which is what we are in. Really, I want you to kind of put Project 5, the reflective letter, out of your mind until next week, and all you should be focusing on this week is finishing Project 4. So please email me if you have questions. If you want to set up a Skype conversation, whatever, that's what I'm here for. And I look forward to talking with you if you do. I'll look at drafts, whatever. So just email me, get in contact with me, let me know, and you will have everything you need to do well. All right. Don't forget the student evaluation forms if you haven't already. All right, guys. I will talk to you later. Bye.